Okay, and here we go. Sorry about last week. There was a power outage, and so that was out of my control. The wind was blowing, and when you're living in a third world socialist country under a liberal government, one of the first things that gets degraded is the power grid. So after a decade of the liberals, our power grid is basically hanging on barely. It doesn't take too much before we lose our power. Something like similar like Cuba, places like that, right? So Lawrence and Lynn and Sharp, welcome. Lynn, I got a question for you. I'm just curious. Are you a UA member? Just thought I'd throw that out there out of curiosity. Marie? Emma? Righto. So, I think you'll know what I mean by UA. It's international. So, yes, we are on the brink of... Oh, you're not? Okay. It's United Association. Plumbers, pipe fitters, welders, gas fitters, tinkler fitters, all that. So, anyways, yes, we are on the cusp of something that can be very, very good or very, very bad. So all I wanted to do on this live stream is just partake in the chat and get some input from everybody on what are your expectations, concerns, hopes, fears, all that stuff that goes with a major election. I know that we are we're staring down the barrel, basically, is what we're doing. Are we going to have the boot on our neck, or are we going to have our freedom? So, Mr. Magoo, Lawrence Fay, myself, I have fears, not for myself. Of course, I can look after myself. I have fears for the generations coming behind. Are they going to live in a free democratic country? Or could this be our last election? I know that's getting to the extreme. I would hope that would never happen. But then again, a lot of people vote communism in, and then they're stuck with it because they don't get to vote them out again. Now, I know one thing for sure. Myself, I do not give up my private property, my personal property, to the government. I purchased it. I didn't purchase it from the government. And I will be relocating my private and personal property to a safe location. So they can keep their sticky fingers off my personal items. So, and I hope everybody else would probably lean that way too. I don't think anybody's going to be too welcome to the government overreach and somebody banging on your door. Although they promised that they would. That's one thing Carney has promised, that he will be knocking on doors. Not himself personally, of course, and probably not the local police force. I expect him, if he gets elected, to create his own little force in each province to go around and do his dirty deeds for him. So, you moving to Alberta? I shouldn't have left Alberta. A lot of my friends out there are deceased. A lot of them, I don't know where they are. it's just too big of a move at this stage in life, so I can't. I got to stick it out. So, Lawrence, no PPC candidates in your riding. I know there's PPC supporters, and my view on the PPC, my honest view to any PPC supporters, I think you're on the right track. I think you got the wrong leader. You need somebody to, he's got to go. Bernier's got to go. He's an old, tired, broken record. Broken records don't work. He's got a chip on his shoulder. You need somebody in there that is going to rejuvenate the party and give it a go then. But as long as Bernier stays in there, that party's not going anywhere. So I blame everything on Bernier. Lawrence, yes, thank you. Sharp, you want separation. Where'd you go? Regardless of who wins. Yeah, that's a strong feeling in the West. I understand that. And I don't blame anybody in the West for wanting to bail out. We're in a mess. And it's not going to be corrected in one term. It was a decade of destruction. It's going to takes a few years. There's a lot of red out there. There's a lot of liberals, and it's not good. But that being said, I was out about a week and a half ago, and I drove around the countryside, the city, two cities, the capital, north and south, the Oromocto, which is the military base. I remember when Harper was in, they had the ABC signs, anything but conservative. That was the U.S. That was George Soros, Open Society, that was backing Trudeau, and those signs all come up from the hard left U.S. to try and take down our government, the crooked Democrats. And of course, they supported Trudeau too, right? Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton. And David Axelrod. The whole cabal from the U.S., basically. Now this time we've got Carney, which is a real piece of work. This guy is pure poison. So he's UN, WEF, he's all got everything all rolled into one, right? So, yeah, we're Marie Fear, home equity tax, censorship, Gestapo, China, all that. That's all, you're right, I know. Pierre's been doing really good. Oh, what I was going to say here, so I was out cruising around, and what I was doing is I was counting lawn signs, because as you remember back the last live, we were talking about lawn signs. Well, so I decided to go out and do a count. The capital city was, I'm not going to say 50-50, it leans liberal. It's the government, it's the university, it's, I don't know, what else? Anyways, there's a lot of liberals here. And the north side of the city wasn't quite as bad because the university's not over there. They've got two universities on the south side, right? Then Oromocto, which was all hard liberal, was all 100% blue, 100% conservative. So that was good to see. Out in the rural areas, 100% conservative. I seen one liberal sign, I think, and there might have been a few more that didn't have signs because they were too ashamed to put the sign out, but they'll just run to the poll and vote liberal anyways. But a lot of blue lawn signs. So I think, of course, the votes are concentrated in the cities. Therein lies the problem. We've got, there was 2 young guys, they were 17 years old. They were coming around doing door knocking. And they didn't stop at my place because I have a lawn sign, so I knew what party they were working for. So I did catch up to them. And I asked them, I said, so you're doing some door knocking? Yeah. I said, how are you making out? How's your reception? What are you getting? They said, oh, really good. Okay, good to know. I said, how old are you guys? And they said, we're 17. I think they looked like, well, they weren't brothers because they were both the same age and they weren't twins, so, but they were probably just buddies. And I said, it's good to see you out here. You guys are doing a very important job. I appreciate it and thank you very much. Keep up the good work, guys. So they were happy to hear that. You know, a little bit of rah-rah for them. I was doing a little renovation for a woman that's just down the street from me. And she said, she asked me if I had Alexa. And I said, no, I don't have anything like that. I don't want anything like that. Oh, she said, I have it because I use it as for my radio. And I listen to CBC every morning. Well, that wasn't a surprise. I could tell anyways. I said, oh, okay, well, isn't that nice? Oh, yeah. And then she said, do you watch Live at 5? Well, I think that's CTV. I think it's out of Halifax. It's hard liberal, hard left. And I said, I don't watch TV because there's nothing any good on there. Oh, she said, I enjoy it. I said, oh, good for you. So I know she's hard liberal. My friends that are suffering severely from TDS and think Carney's the best possible solution. The solution for Canada. Let's hope it's not the final solution. Anyways, I have cut contacts with them until after this election because I don't want to lose a friendship. I think I went over this before. It's not worth it. Let the cards fall as they may and deal with it afterwards. But I'm not beyond, if it goes sideways here, a little bit down the road saying, hey, I told you so. But it is what it is. Nothing can be done once the votes are counted. I think the Conservatives are going to win. So after all that gloom, I think the Conservatives are going to win. That's my impression. That's the feel on the street. I'm just not with people that I know are conservative. No, this is just the vibes I'm getting. So some people I know that ran out and voted Liberal because they don't know. They just don't like Pierre. Well, why? Well, I don't know. I just have a bad feeling about him. So I'm going to vote. We voted for Carney. Oh, okay. Mr. Feelgood. Yeah. So I guess they didn't want 15% cut in their income tax. One's having hard times. You'd think 15% income tax cut would be a help. So anyways, you just can't fix stupid, can you? And that's why we might be heading down the wrong track. So you got to prepare for the worst, hope for the best is what they say, right? So, Mr. Magoo, you're in Oshawa. Fade, I get your happy birthday wish. I never caught that. It must have been on Facebook, eh? Northwest Territories. There's Liberal and there's 3 votes, 3 seats up there. There's, looks like 2 Liberal and 1 New Democrat up in the Northwest Territories. Oshawa, Mr. Magoo, we need Southern Ontario big time. It looks like southern half of New Brunswick, according to the seat map, it looks like the southern half of New Brunswick is going Conservative. The rest of the province is going Liberal. Nova Scotia is almost all Liberal, and Newfoundland is all Liberal, which is not a surprise with Newfoundland. So, we'll see. But that's just, hey, look, you can't, I still say, I still say things can change. Betty Power, hello. Chrétien said it would be a Liberal majority. Yeah, well, Chrétien looks like he's the Walking Dead. I can't see him saying, well, there's a good chance it could be conservative, because he's got to say Liberal, right? There's no way that a past Liberal Prime Minister would say that, oh, it looks like Conservatives are going to take it. Oh, Mr. Magoo, you moved from Oshawa to Edmonton in 76. 76. That was just about the start of the downfall of Alberta for the hard times, I believe. Maybe no, they might have been doing not too bad in 76. It was probably 80, something like that. Marie Carney exudes evil. CBDC, exactly. And I've mentioned that to people, and they have no idea what I'm talking about. So, because he clammed up about that, he won't say anything about CBDCs, right? I think he crawled out of the crypt keeper. Lawrence Carney doesn't even have a seat in Parliament. No, and he might not have one, because Ball, the Conservative, she's doing really good in Nepean, so maybe she'll take that from him. Now, I just seen Emma, 76, you were working in Calgary, lots of oil activity then. Okay. I'm going to say there. Anyways, it'll come back to me. It happens with age. Well, I seen that President Trump and Robert Kennedy Jr. are dealing with the aerial spraying, the chemtrail spraying, and I see they made maybe more than one arrest. I think there might have been a handful of arrests. And they're discussing how it is affecting people's memory and overall health. And I also seen that Danielle Smith was at the meeting, sitting at the table discussing the chemtrails. So there's a bonus, there's a plus. So maybe she can put a bug in our new Conservative government, if that's what we got, and let them know about it. Maybe they can stop the chemtrail spraying over Canada too. I've mentioned it to people, and they just look at me like I've got two heads. They don't know what I'm saying when I talk about aerial spraying. And I say, look up. Just look up. Look at the sky. Wasn't it blue this morning, and now what's it look like? Well, it's just clouds. Well, they're man-made. See, those are Liberal voters. They don't even look up at the sky. They're in a daze. They walk around in a daze. Nick, what did she say about them? She was asking questions, and intelligent questions, like how they were going to be dealt with and stuff, right? So yeah, it looks like Alberta's on the right track. Well, I know they are with Danielle Smith, but it looks like they're on the right track on this chemtrail crap. Yeah, it's the aluminum and stuff in it. The barium is, aluminum we know is bad for dementia, and it's causing early dementia in people. Marie, same vax mask equals liberals. I just, it, it, it struck me there after watching this. I thought, I wonder if there's a percentage of those people walking around with masks on are because they're worried about the chemtrails. They might not all be brainwashed. You don't know. And I hate to ask them, you wearing a mask because of the chemtrails, or are you wearing it because of the scary imaginary virus? Tough question to ask. Nick, you living on a major flight path. That's crazy. Yeah, same here. The airport's not far away, and I go out and get a nice blue sky, and then it don't last. Or I'll look out the window and I'll go, wow, what a beautiful day. There's no trails, and I'll step outside, and then I look to the left or right, and there they are, closing in, covering the blue. Sickening. Nick, either way, masks won't work. Yeah, you gotta have a canister. Well, if we get a conservative government, minority, looks like Singh is gone, but that means it will be liberals and bloc holding the conservatives back from getting anything accomplished and trying to bring the government down. You never know. We might get a majority, might get a super majority. Look what happened with the last election in the United States. And the one before that too, wink wink, nod nod, you know what I mean. And plus the 2016 election in the US. I told people, supposedly, well, they were, not supposedly, they were good, faithful citizens, elders in a church. I told them in 2016 that Trump was going to win the election. And they laughed at me, they laughed. And then they called in a couple of other elders, and they said, did you hear what he just said? No, what? Tell them. I said, Trump's going to win the election. And they all chuckled. And I said, and it's going to be a majority. And then they were shocked, and then they all broke out laughing. Just watch, I said, and sure enough, I was right. Could I be right again when I say we're going to get a conservative majority? What I see is the rallies have been massive, huge, huge. And the enthusiasm is, top shelf, eh? Like it's just, yeah, it's awesome. So that's my prediction, is a conservative win, and I'm going to even go a little farther and say a majority. And I'm going to say also that if that happens, I don't think Carney's going to win his seat. I think he's going to self-deport. I think he's going to cut and run, because he's not here for the people. He's here for Carney and his business associates. So if he can't accomplish that, he's going to bail out. He's not going to stick around. And what's he going to do? Be leader of the party but not have a seat in the House of Commons? He can stand out in the hallway or up in the guest area in the in the nosebleed section. Going to do the show tomorrow? No, I'm not, because I have an issue with screen sharing. I haven't had a chance to look at that. I think I'm going to be watching it on Rebel News. They have good coverage. So, Betty coalition should be illegal. I don't know why no one addresses problems like that when they're in power. Well, it's a free vote is the problem. If you start passing, I mean, what if it went the other way, Betty? What if the Liberals were in with a minority, and the Conservatives and the Bloc work together to stop them passing these insane bills, then that would be good for us. Unfortunately, it's very rare that another party will work with the Conservatives because the other parties are all about control and what they can get, not what they can. The Bloc is out for Quebec. That's their shtick. That's what they are. They're a separatist party. They're a national party for Quebec. They're regional. So they're not going to agree with too much of anything. The NDP, when they were a party, you know what I mean, they would never side with the Conservatives. Look what Singh said. Singh said, I supported the Liberals because I couldn't stomach the thought of Pierre Poilievre having running or being in power or whatever. He threw the country to the dogs for his ego. And look what it got him. Look what it got us. Look what it got him. He destroyed the country. He walks away with his pension, which he didn't need because he's super rich anyways. I hope he has a life of living hell. Every time he steps out in public, I hope somebody's screaming at him and telling him to get out of here. You're a traitor. So, anyways, that's what he did, and he's proud of it, but he's going to lose his seat, it looks like, and it looks like the NDP is going to tank. Good. Some of the NDP went Liberal, some of them went Conservative. Probably not very many went Conservative, most of them, I'm sure, went Liberal. Pierre wants pipelines, and Bloc doesn't want any pipelines through Quebec. Exactly. I see Irving Refinery, Irving Oil here, the Irving family that owns the largest refinery in Canada. I'm pretty sure it is. It always was. I don't think any others have expanded. But anyways, it's huge. And Newfoundland has oil, but Irving is not allowed to buy the oil from Newfoundland to refine it because the Liberal government won't let them do it. How insane is that? Atlantic Canada, poor provinces. We're not allowed to refine our oil here because of Liberal policy. So, and Quebec won't let the government put a pipeline through. Well, Pierre said he was going to put an energy corridor through. I would say it is in national interest, and I think that a majority government would have the say. They would still have to talk to the Indigenous people if it's crossing through their territory, but if it is, it's just like when they built the railway. It's got to go. It's got to go through. It's got to go coast to coast to coast. So, yeah, north, south, east, west. That means to the U.S., up to James Bay, out to the Pacific, to the Atlantic. So, Mr. McGoo, you pray China's not involved in the vote? Oh, they're in deep. Man, they're in deep. What was I seeing with Carney there that there's so much this guy's wrapped up in. The business ties that he has, and that once he gets in there with power, he's going to suck the money out of this country, and the people are going to be impoverished. And if the Liberals go in, I would recommend that while the weather is good, try to, if you got a few extra bucks, try to stock up on stuff, because during the cold climate, which is about 6 months of the year at least here, all your money's going to be going on power bill and food. To heat and eat is where your money will be going. They don't want you driving a vehicle. They don't want you to have any gasoline. They want it to run electric, don't have a grid. So in other words, they want you to just stay home. So while you can, get what you can while you can and put it away for the winter. Don't get caught. Don't get caught short-handed. Carney is leading towards the UBI, Universal Basic Income. I tell people UBI, and they're the same thing as the chemtrails. They look at you, their eyes glaze over, and they go, "What's that?" Well, you a guaranteed universal basic income from the government. Well, that would be good. No, it's not enough to live on. And it's controllable. You're a CBDC, so I tell them it'll be a CBDC. You're not getting cash because they don't want cash. They want to get rid of that. So, people are stupid. I don't have a lot of faith in I don't have any faith in quite a few people, but I think there's enough people awake now. I don't know. I think it was Global or CTV said, Pierre is against wokeness. What's woke? Well, that blew up. I think that was on X. That blew up. Everybody knew that, come on, you know what woke is. And DEI, you know, the whole ball of wax. You know, talking about drag queen, story time, like you name it. And that's our media. And I seen another slur by the media today on the conservatives. These people are desperate. The media is desperate. Liberals are desperate. Look, if it would be UBI, you'd be rich. Some people, it might help some people, Faye. Where was it? Anyways, yeah, it's a bad situation. And like I say, we're Marxist leaning on communist. I think it's going to be a combination of the two, because what do? They pillage the country, they take everything, and then the people will riot. And watch that too if the conservatives win. Don't go around any, be careful rather, I'll say, if you're out around any protests as a counter-protester, because it might take a while for the police force to actually respect the new government, if you know what I mean. They seem to like piling on, throwing people down, 4, 5, 6 of them on top of somebody. So, you know, they kind of like doing that. So it's fun for them, and they might not want to miss out on that fun. So, the Parliament Hill might be just going crazy if it's a conservative government. The Liberals are not good losers. They're losers. They're just not good losers. So, you know, media desperate, lost your thought, yeah. Oh yeah, the media, what were they? There was another slur they had out, and I forget what it was. I think I just seen that yesterday. They're just pathetic. It was CBC, that one. And they've been losing their crap, CBC, because they know they're done. But that's the other thing. You go online, like, I know X, the platform leans hard right, but the left, the liberals are on there slinging their mud. But the replies back, even on YouTube, any video, you go into the comments. It's all conservative. Not all, but I'd say 90% or more. And when the liberals come out on there in their comments and they throw something stupid, some stupid crap out there and a dig, man, they get hammered. They get hammered. These are all like signals or signs of the general feeling out there. And it's not always the same people in the comments. I go through and I try to, you know, recognize. I know a few that are on there regular, like myself too, but in the comment section. But There's a lot of ones that just aren't recognized, and they're putting their 2 cents in there for us. So that's why I think this is going to be a surprise election. I think we're going to have a conservative government. So hope and pray for the best, and just a heads up if it goes sideways and this mess gets back in, because look at the ministers. We know what they've got for ministers. They're all the same. I think there's about 4 or 5 new ones or something maybe. So in fact, you stay in your apartment, order food and beer. Yeah. There's Nick, what if we're the sore losers, Emma? Are we just supposed to lose our country to be nice or what? I don't know. I don't have an answer for that, Nick, or an opinion on that. I do know that if anybody on the conservative side starts to protest, just think back to the trucker convoy with the horses and the troops. That was under Trudeau. Carney will be worse. So remember, they were tossing the idea of bringing a tank or two in there to crush the so-called rebellion. All it was a peaceful protest of bouncy castles. I guess they wanted to run over the bouncy castles or something. Who knows what their plans were? That was Carney. So yeah, big trouble. Yeah, it's the insanity. We've gone beyond reason now. This was never like this before the Liberals, before Trudeau. Trudeau brought this all on. He's been on his knees, probably more than we know, but we know he was on his knees for Black Lives Matter. He was on his knees for this unmarked, we don't, empty graves, whatever they are. He seems to like to be on his knees a lot, I know. So Nick, Liberals emailed me begging for my vote. They are concerned. Yeah. Well, that was funny too. That woman I was doing the job for here, she came in, she said, look, I got a letter from Pierre Poilievre. And it was her name and address printed on the envelope. And I said, whoa. Well, there you go. Yeah, right. Yeah. So that was a bit strange. It came delivered with her name and address. George Carlin keeps me sane. I like George. I go back to him once in a while. The globalists supplying the money to the activist. Oh, yeah. Mr. Magoo, oh, sure. Soros, old moneybags, George Soros. Must be something to be that rich, eh? And that evil to take that money instead of using it for good, using it to destroy countries. Wow. You know, like, Carney's not like that. Carney just sucks the money out and leaves everybody broken in debt and then walks away. And then him and all his cronies, they all make millions and billions of dollars. And they know they're untouchables. So, and the other problem is when politicians turn out like that, they leave, they walk away, and nothing happens. Look at the dirt that Trudeau did while he was in there. And what's he do? He goes up and he resigns. And he goes over and he cries on the Governor General's shoulder, and fake crying, of course. And anyways, she consoles him. And then he walks away, a smug look on his face. Nothing's going to happen to him. The damage he's done to this country and nothing happens to him, that in and alone itself is criminal. So, Nick Forza agreed, Fred. Look at Britain right now. Look at Ireland. The Irish have risen up. The Irish have awakened. There was, 10,000 or more in Dublin at the rally. They've had it. They're shutting down the massive immigration, the population replacement. They're done. The fighting Irish are ready to rock and roll. So that's something to keep an eye on. There's another country that's woke up and said enough's enough and we're done with this crap. So England, well, they want to block out the sun. Starmer over there, that's his plan. He's bragging about that. Yeah, we're going to block out the sun. The place is under a fog bank most of the year. And he's going to block out the sun to save the planet. He doesn't even realize that the planet is bigger than England. Like, this guy belongs in prison doing hard time. So, Faye, off to the races. Canadians are playing. I hope they lose. Go Toronto. See you, Faye. Nick, we can learn from Ireland. You saw that about the Suns. Just insane, I know. See, what is Carney going to do if he gets in? Well, maybe we can block out the sun. Now, you're already doing it with the chemtrails, you dork. So, yeah. maybe, just maybe Trump and RFK Jr. can get those chemtrails shut down. Apparently there's some of the U.S. military involved in that, is what I've seen. But they're not, they got to get the higher ups. There was a whistleblower from the military. He come out and spilled it. Jesus rules, amen. Carney is very likely elite Luciferian. Yeah, as he is in the Epstein crowd. They're getting suicided. Pure evil in that gang. Yes, I agree. Definitely. He exudes an aura of evil around him. He's a very different character. Now, he came from humble beginnings in the Northwest Territories. I moved to Edmonton, and the AC/DC song, I forget which one it is now. He said that was the one when I was playing hockey and I was a youth. That was our warm-up song, and no, no, he was graduating from university when that song was released, so that's another lie. He just makes it up as he goes. He'll just come out with a lie to suit the moment, I guess, right? And it rolls right off his tongue. You know? Like, that's a well, maybe a psychotic liar or a habitual liar or whatever. I guess he just thinks he's smarter than everybody else and nobody's going to catch him. He keeps getting caught because the truth truth always prevails. Sometimes it takes a little longer. Highway to Hell, yeah. No, that wasn't the one, but that would be more suitable. Mr. Magoo, now that Trudeau is gone, I hope there are no more fires out west. Well, Carney said he was going to, what was it? He had something to do with looking after the forest or something. That's scary. That means another summer of fire. AC/DC, if you want blood, you got it. Yeah. No, it's like I say, we're on the verge of, are we going to be a free country or are we going to be under complete control? We're on a razor's edge here, so. But I'm not losing faith, folks. We keep the faith. I've lost faith in a lot of Canadians, but I think the majority now, it's the youth. The youth are the ones that are going to save us on this one. There's a few seniors that will vote Conservative, but it's the younger ones now that are desperate, and they see that it's critical for their future. So I think the troops are rallying the younger people. So, yeah, my God might feel sorry for us tomorrow. Yeah, it could be the beginning of the end. Carney lies so much I doubt his first name is Mark. Yeah. Of course, Trudeau was a liar too, right? Every time he'd come out with something, it was all just garbage. And CPR says he's going to bring back plastic bags and plastic straws, and he got a big round of applause for that. And everybody was pretty pleased. They said, good, common sense again, right? People, I still see them coming out of the dollar store, because that's where people shop these days, because they can't afford to shop anywhere else. And they got an armload of stuff. Can I sell you a bag? There's, at the counter. No, I got a whole bunch of them home. Nobody thinks to bring them again. Then they get dirty anyways. A little bit of meat in there and some blood in them. But anyways, yeah. One turtle got a straw up his nose and it was probably stuck up there by somebody to take a picture. And Trudeau, with his water bottle, plastic box thingies, right? No, that was a lie. So, just one example, thinking back. There's no waste thoughts, oh my. You cannot tell the youth they will own nothing because they will not be happy. Very good point, my man. Very good point. Vivo Cristo Rey 777. I'm scared for Canada. Praying for you all tomorrow. Well, we appreciate that. We need prayers. We might end up needing help from the U.S. Trump might be onto something. Political foolishness. Will Fredericton vote Conservative or Liberal? We got a Juno Award-winning singer-songwriter guy running for the Liberals, put in at the last minute. And we have an ex-military that was an MLA running for the Conservatives. And I don't have any faith in the people in the Fredericton area. I expect it to go Liberal. So that's my prediction. I'm predicting a Conservative federal government and Liberal government in Fredericton riding. Yeah, that's it. The drink box water bottle sort of thing. Yeah. Liquid Gal, hello. Yeah, we're in dire straits here in this country right now. There's a couple of things happened, and for my American friends, I'm not crapping on Trump because I still support Trump, but I wish he had been quiet about during our writ period for the election, because it spooked a bunch of people. He was poking Trudeau, and Trudeau up and quit. It was all in the plans anyways, and then because they were tanked, so he was being kicked out. He didn't quit. He was booted out of the party. So I can't blame it on Trump, and I'm not trying to blame it on Trump. But it didn't help matters any, because when Carney got dropped in, if we didn't have to deal with the 51st state issue, which I think is just a joke anyways, but I could be wrong, but I think it's just a joke that Trump kept repeating. And I think the reason President Trump kept repeating it was because he wanted to see some action here. He wanted the border stiffened up. He wanted the fentanyl shut down. And of course, the liberals said there's no fentanyl problem and there's no problem with the borders. No, it's just like it's like two turnstiles. One goes one way and the other goes the other way. People walking, crossing back and forth illegally. Some come into Canada and go south. Some come into the U.S. and go north. Now we're getting a lot coming north because of the deportations and stuff happening in the U.S. So they run to Canada now. So we got those issues to deal with. Pierre says he's going to cut back on the immigration. I say be a little more selective on the immigration. Maybe pick some different countries. I think there's some people over in the UK that would like to come to Canada, and there's a few in Ireland might want to relocate to Canada. Probably a few Welsh, maybe some people from Germany, you know, a few countries like that might want to come here. Who ran into the Filipinos last night. I seen the guy, he was cornered there. The people were screaming at him. He was an Asian. I don't know why, who knows why somebody does something like that. Last I seen was 11 dead was the count, not how many injured. So, yeah. Of course, they won't release many details, but he was well known to the police. So, gee, well known to the police, in and out of the system. What happened? Why'd that happen? Well, I guess that was because we had a liberal government that doesn't want to lock any of the criminals up, and they want to go hard on crime. They want to take the guns away from the legal gun owners, but they're okay with the border with the gangsters having their semi-automatic Glocks. So, anyways, we got the gang issue, which is big time. That's right across the country now. We've also got the division amongst the races. That's all caused by the liberals. So, look, a girl, they need to be sent back to the USA for deportation, yeah. Emma, more whites the better, in my opinion. Well, it was pretty good growing up, but we got to thank Pierre Trudeau for that, right? That was his shtick. Let's make Canada a place where everybody can come in and bring all their troubles with them, and they can just carry on as they did in their own countries, and it's all going to work out just great. We've seen how that worked. And Junior gets in there. And everybody's welcome. Let's ramp it up. And Carney, well, he'll just finish us off. So, Emma, Pierre's multiculturalism. He is. Does he have any choice? Really? After the mess that Pierre Trudeau created? And Chrétien didn't help any, and Justin just trashed it. So, I think he's trying to, Marie, it's not race, it's incompatible cultures, true enough. But I think Pierre's trying to represent the different cultures. Oh, Emma, Pierre Trudeau, you meant, yeah. But I think Pierre's. I was looked at that today because I heard like Bernier was saying a lot about, oh look, showing pictures of Pierre with different headgear on and stuff, and it's a show of I guess that, you know, I represent you too, type of thing. All the leaders do it now. I don't pay too much attention to that anymore. At first I was a little bit ticked, but I don't pay much attention to that anymore. It is what it is, right? We're living in a country now that the people that developed the country, I mean, how far back do you want to go? Do you want to go back before the Europeans arrived? Well, what would it look like now if there was no contact? I mean, it's impossible. I mean, you know, with technology like sailing ships, but what would it be? Still not have the wheel? Like, no, it wouldn't be good. I think the Europeans, there was mistakes made, but we're back in a time of conquest. It's still happening in some places today, but it was an era of conquest. It was a new world. The old world was in a mess and people were trying to get away. So, and I tell people, well, okay, if it wasn't the French and English, it might have been the Spanish, and it wouldn't have ended well for the people that were here then, because the Spanish had this thing about slavery and executions and stuff, right? So it is what it is. Now I'm going to move ahead to the people that arrived here and built the country, built the cities, built the railroad, the whole deal. And now other people are coming and taking advantage of it, and they're fighting against us. And we are being looked down on by the Liberal government as people that destroyed the place, and we should be paying reparations, and we should be doing this and doing that. And meanwhile, they take their big pensions and money and laugh at us and walk away. So that's basically how it. Chrétien wasn't like that. Paul Martin wasn't like that. I will give them credit for that. Credit where credit's due. They did a lot of other damage, but at least they didn't put down the Canadian people, the hard-working people that actually built a country, went to wars. Stupid, but they did. We still got too many ties to England. That should be cut off. We need a complete change of government. Liquid Gal. PP was in Brampton telling the Sikhs they wanted a direct flight to Amritsar, India to bring them here faster. I heard something about that too, about direct flight there. But he's also cutting back on immigration, that no more immigrants than the number of houses that were vacancies that were built the year before or something like that. So he's kind of on it. Betting a lot of countries just admit that multiculturalism is a failure. It is. Emma, I remember the days when it was just us natives and whites. Life was good, very good. Yeah, we did pretty good, didn't we? We got along good. I still do. I have a great time going over to the tire shop on the res. They know when I walk in the door, the woman on the desk, she says, "What'd you do now? Did you hit that pothole under the bridge?" I don't know how many times I've had my tires done over there. No tax. Chris there, he says, I don't pay tax, so I don't charge tax. I'm surprised that Trudeau's mother didn't have any off-colored babies. No. A Cuban. The French really started this country on the right foot, honestly. Yeah, they were doing pretty good. It was the British ruling the seas and the British Empire. You could even ride your bike until the street lights come on without worries, yeah. Nick Pierre is also desperate to tell people what they want to hear. Yeah, you got to do that as a politician, though, right? But you know what, though, Nick? Look at it this way. Maybe that means he's listening to the people. And he's open to changing his mind or open to the suggestions from people. So it could be that, too. We'll see. We'll see if he forms government. And that's the interview I just seen on Northern Perspective. That was basically said, you know, he wants the country to be back to where it was safe and the division is not there. So, and people want to hear that and people want it too, so we'll see. Emma, my son saw his first black man. He said, Mom, look at the black white man, yeah. Political foolishness. James Corbett on a recent interview referred to Klaus Schwab as a carnival barker. Great comment on his part. Yeah. And we got the carny here. Sophie might yet, Fred. Lawrence Buckley, Trudeau's like father, like son, pedos. Yeah, I guess it runs in the family. Well, look, Pierre Trudeau, I went over this a few years ago online here. Pierre Trudeau, when him and Maggie were out screwing around, he left the boys, the three boys, with a pedo. I'd say babysitter, but they weren't babies. They were young youth. That's who raised them. Homosexual pedos. So, hey, that's how he was raised, right? Yeah. So you gotta look at their background, right? Michelle. Still don't know what happened there with him and that avalanche. That was strange too. So, sketchy to say the least. All in the family, yeah. Well, Maggie, she was just out doing everybody she could. Trump turned her down. He didn't want any part of her. High mileage. Nick, everyone in charge has a sick past. Paul, who are the polls favoring? Well, they're favoring the Liberals, but it's tightened up. But I'm not putting much faith at all in the polls. So apparently there are some ridings that are allowed to start counting ballots. Really? Okay. See, I voted at the returning office before the early voting was set up. Speaking of that, I just seen Drea Humphrey, Rebel News, the LNG in Kitimat. There's 5,000 workers there, and there's no ballot boxes for them to vote. They're construction workers. They're going to probably, majority vote Conservative, if not all. And Elections Canada didn't bring in any ballot boxes for them. And they're from ridings all across the country. probably mostly BC and Alberta, but yeah, from across the country. So there's 5,000 votes that will be missing. That's not fair. Hey, wait now. That's what they do in communist countries, isn't it? uh, Hey, Lawrence, Emma, my sister's best friend, dated a black man in NB back in the 70s. My foster father refused to let him in the house. I didn't understand it back then. Sad. Emma shares, my sister wasn't allowed to marry her white cop boyfriend in the 1960s. That's how it was back then. I remember when the natives weren't allowed to buy alcohol. And it was John MacDonald that gave the natives the right to vote, and he gave the women the right to vote. I believe, I think so if I remember correctly, but it seems to me the Liberals took the right to vote away from the natives. Nick, you live in a conservative riding and haven't received your card yet. Okay, well you don't need it. Just go in with your driver's license. Pierre's last event tonight about 2 kilometers from your place, 79 Terra Firma. That's in Carleton riding, isn't it? His home riding. And that will starts in about a half hour to an hour from now. I'm going to be watching that. So that should be interesting. That's one that the CBC said, looks like Pierre's not going to win his riding. And that's coming from some people in the Conservative Party. Well, that was a lie. I mean, he's safe in his riding. They're doing everything they can, throwing it out and see what'll stick. Liquid Gal Elections Canada wouldn't say which riding can count early. Right. Emma not allowed to vote either. 79 Terra Firma, I'm going to check it out and see if I can get in. Right on, nothing. Look, those Pierre rallies are great. We had a guy here. We got a guy here. He's quite an actor, eh? That was at the Fredericton Kearney rally, and they're all lined up, waiting to get in. And he's got a red hat on, and a red checkered shirt, lumber style shirt, and he's going down the lineup, and he's got his elbows up in the air. He's going elbows up, elbows up, elbows up, and he's trolling them, right? And they all start laughing. Yeah, elbows up. They're all putting their elbows up, and he's bumping elbows with them. And he says, it's David, it'll come to me his last name here now, running for the Liberals. This is favorite hat. It's it says, make New Brunswick give her again. And anyways, on the way back, he's all squatting down and walking like a chicken, right? And he's going, elbows up, elbows up, elbows up. I think a few of them caught on then that they were being trolled. So, good for him. But that's how stupid they are. Elbows up. That means you're playing dirty. Like we got, just don't wear a MAGA hat when you vote, or you can be kicked out for interference. Happening at Agassiz, BC last election. Yeah, you're not supposed to have anything on political when you go to vote. Those are Election Canada laws. So, because then you're campaigning, right? Which is illegal on election day. So that's where that comes in. Lawrence, as a kid, pick up pennies. One day I was asked about my foster mother, where'd you find those? Near Solomon's store? Yuck, she said. Those are Indian coins. Wash your hands. So, whoa, so much bigotry. Wow. I used to hang around a bit on the res out in Lytton, BC, too, when Lytton was a place. I don't know if it's ever built up again now or what. The old Lytton Hotel. Used to go down to the gold reserve and pan gold there on the Fraser River on weekends sometimes for something to do. The natives, a good bunch out there. We got, I don't know if I told you this story or not, but buddy from Alberta, we had an old Ford van, and it was on Canada Day weekend, and we were heading back to Vancouver, and they were having the Canada Day parade in Lytton, BC, and it was just basically doing a few circles around the town, and we got in there, and it was all natives in the parade, and they had a big float, the natives with all their regalia on and drums and instruments, whatever. And here we are behind them, the only two white guys in the parade, and everybody's waving and waving to the floats and pickups and everything going around. And then the looks on their faces when they see us driving along, we're looking at them and they're waving, they stop, their hands still up, and they're just staring at us. We go by, right, and we're looking at them waving to the right. Took us 3 or 4 trips around before we get out of there. I kept telling them, get us out of here. Sure, you wore your 51st state hat and nobody said a word. Wow. Nick, can I wear my Gadsby? Don't tread on me. Fevo, Christopher, I'm an election judge, and at my small township voting place, there was a man that came in with a MAGA hat. We told him he wasn't supposed to have it, but let him vote anyway and didn't make him remove it. Yeah, right on. But then, if it's MAGA, it's American. If it's MACA, I guess Canadian, I don't know. I don't know. I don't care. I just want to get rid of the liberals. Lawrence, growing up, natives were always kind and friendly with me. When I drive the reservation today, they wave at me and say hi. Yeah, it's the way it should be. And a lot of the people, look, I mean, there's hardcore and hard-nosed in every group of people, right? There's always a few. I mean, I've had a lot of French people that I get along with great, right? Have a few brews, whatever, whatever. Work side by side, no issues. Then you get the odd one that doesn't like English. Yeah, okay, well, whatever. I don't care. Then, like I had that here at the Irving Oil Refinery. I was a travel card from Vancouver, so they put me in way out in the back of the refinery. It was on the expansion. And it was a French crew from Bathurst. And they were hanging out in a sea container. And the foreman said, go in there, that's where the crew is. So I go in, and they're talking away. One of the guys says, do you speak French? And I said, no. And he said, and that was it. Never heard another word of English. Whatever. Sometimes karma can be a real bitch. I was out in, I think it was Fort McMurray. Well, guess who was on the crew? It was the Bathurst bunch. So I'm in the headache shack with the new foreman, and we're going over some stuff, and we come out, and he was an Italian guy, nice guy. Come out, and all the guys from Bathurst are standing there talking French. And he said, did I just step into another country? And I said, no, another province. And it says New Brunswick. Oh. Uh, he said, I got no idea what they're saying. I said, oh, well, that's a good thing. And he said, why? I said, well, they're talking about you. What? I said, yeah, and it's not good. They got all the dirtiest jobs there was after that. And I was best buddies with the foreman. He thought I could speak French. Karma's a bitch. So, and they were whining and crying, why are we always doing this? Why are we always... I don't know. So, yeah. And like I say, there's one in every bunch usually, right? So, majority of people get along. We're all the same race, the human race. It's just, like I think Emma said, different cultures. Emma, just think in the 80s, I didn't even know what a burqa was. Yeah, I don't think I was too tuned into them either. I'd seen old movies and stuff over in Egypt and stuff like that. You'd see them, you know, but that was over there, you know. Now the city of Fredericton has a lot of burqas. I've got a lot of dirty looks from the men. Can't tell about the women because sometimes they even got a veil. You can't even see their eyes. You know, that's Fredericton. If Kearney goes in, we're going to need a bigger mosque or another one. They don't. The full burqas, you don't see out too much because I don't think they're allowed out by themselves. So, at the protest for the kids, that's when I noticed the numbers. So yeah, we had the same train of thought on that issue with the grooming of the kids, but anything else, I still got dirty looks from the guys. Like, what did I do? Don't get me started on mosques. I know. Well, wait till they get the call to prayer and the bells ringing and the loudspeakers going every, so at 15 minutes or whatever it is. People start waking up then and complain, but oh, you can't complain because it's their culture. Nick, there were around 2,300 kids in my high school. There were about 5 black guys and 3 brown guys, a bunch of natives, and only white people were ever racist. Yeah, I don't doubt that. Don't doubt that at all. Emma, the sons are half white, half native. I worked with I worked with a guy that was half black and half white. When he was around me and my brother pipe fitters, he was a white guy. The black guys came around, he was a brother. He'd flip back and forth, eh? Well, I guess he had his choice. He had 50-50 blood. Viva Cristo Rey. Minneapolis has the call to prayer now forbids church bells ringing. Yeah, that was the other thing. Kearney won't deal with 200 churches here that were burned and defaced or whatever. A couple hundred. Yeah, it's no big deal. And my son lived in Kuwait, 11 months, Kuwait, and he said call to prayer started every morning at 4. That group of people rules Minnesota. The Attorney General is Muslim. Yeah. The cutest kids I ever saw were half Chinese and half black. Yeah, that's a pretty good blend. Black white buddy used to say, I think of myself as half white, not half black. Yeah. Well, I guess a hybrid maybe. I'm part British, part Welsh, part Irish. So I get to celebrate all those special days, St. Patty's and St. George's Day. I guess that just passed. And then there's the Welsh one, whatever that is. Liquid gal friend went to Africa. The blacks there were very racist to him. After a week of him going to town, they were fine. Called him a white black friend. Ah, what a crazy world, eh? So we gotta, like I say, okay, we got, damn it. Tomorrow's a big day. We'll see how this plays out. Like I say, my toys are my toys. They're not the government's. They can keep their sticky fingers off them. If they get in charge, those are going to be moved to a safe location. And they just going to watch the cost of living. It's just going to go ridiculous. So, Betty Power, I hope you're right about the Conservatives win tomorrow from your lips to God's ears. I hope so too. Lawrence, Fred, while serving in Europe, we stopped at a cafe. We were speaking English. The French began talking about us and wanted to beat us up until we spoke French. Got up and ran off. Oh, well, yeah, that's funny, eh? No, I struggled with French in school, and I just couldn't get it. And then I even got a program here to try, and I was doing pretty good at it. And then, of course, I dropped it, and away we go. Back to unilingual. Look at Pierre's wife, speaks 3 languages fluently. English, Spanish, and French. Amazing. Now, and she said she didn't really, she liked the fact that Pierre didn't speak Spanish. Sometimes she liked that. Well, folks, I think we'll just wind it down a little early here, but hang in there. We'll deal with it, the results. There's nothing we can do, but we'll hang together. I don't know if that's a good way of putting it. So, fingers crossed. I hope the Conservatives pull this one off. I have faith that the polls are wrong. They're skewed. The media is biased. I think I know there's more youth than there are seniors. And these boomers, some of them, me too included, but I'm a conservative one. I think the Liberals and the government are in for a shock, and I think CBC is on borrowed time. Hopefully. So let's next week we'll deal with the aftermath and hope that it's good. It's going to be different watching this. It all depends on Southern Ontario pretty much. Maybe some in Quebec will flip back to the bloc, and maybe some in Atlantic Canada will wake up and do the right thing. So, guys, gals, everybody, like-minded folks, God bless each and every one of you, and remember, never take the path of least resistance, because it's a book written that has that right in there. Don't take the wide path, take the narrow one. So until next week, unless something very crazy happens this week, you all take care. God bless. Thank you very much for joining in too.